The Critique of Pure Reason, Introduction, of the difference between pure and empirical knowledge. That all our knowledge begins with experience, there can be no doubt. For how it is possible that the faculty of cognition should be awakened into exercise otherwise than by means of objects which affect our senses, and partly of themselves produce representations, partly rouse our powers of understanding into activity, to compare, to connect, or to separate these, and so to convert the raw material of our sensuous experience into a knowledge of objects, which is called experience. In respect of time, therefore, no knowledge of ours is antecedent to experience, but begins with it. But though all our knowledge begins with experience, it is by no means follows that all arises out of experience. For, on the contrary, it is quite possible that our empirical knowledge is a compound of that which we receive through impressions and that which the faculty of cognition supplies from itself. Sensuous impressions given merely the occasion, an addition which we cannot distinguish from the original element given by sense, till long practice has made us attentive to and skillful in separating it. It is therefore a question which requires close investigation and not to be answered at first sight, whether there exists a knowledge altogether independent of experience and even of all sensuous impressions. Knowledge of this kind is called a priori, in contradiction to empirical knowledge, which has its sources a posteriori, that is, in experience. But the expression a priori is not a yet definite enough adequately to indicate the whole meaning of the question about stated. For in speaking of knowledge which has its sources in experience, we are wont to say this or that may be known a priori, because we do not derive this knowledge immediately from experience, but from a general rule, which, however, we have itself borrowed from experience. Thus, if a man undermined his house, we say, he might know a priori that it would have fallen. That is, he indeed not to have waited for the experience that it did actually fall, but still a priori he could not know even this much. For that bodies are heavy, and consequently that they fall when their supports are taken away, must have been known to him previously by means of experience. By the term knowledge a priori, therefore, we shall in the sequel understand not such as is independent of this or that kind of experience, but such as is absolutely so of all experience. Opposed to this is empirical knowledge, or that which is possible only a posteriori, that is, through experience. Knowledge a priori is either pure or impure. Pure knowledge a priori is that with which no empirical element is fixed up. For example, the proposition every change has a cause is a proposition a priori, but impure because change is a conception which can only be derived from experience.